my name is Petra, and I'm a PM on the Outlook Extensibility team. Today, I'll be giving you a brief overview of Outlook add-ins and their capabilities. To start, I will first talk about what add-ins are and the benefits of building them. Then, I will walk through a quick demo of an Outlook add-in and explain the process of developing one. Finally, I will discuss the latest additions to the platform and what we plan to work on in the future. So, what are Outlook add-ins? Add-ins are integrations that developers build to help their customers get more done within Outlook. Specifically, they are a way for third-party developers to create integrations alongside native Outlook experiences through modern web technologies such as JavaScript, jQuery, and Angular. Whether it is saving an email to your favorite CRM, finding the best time to schedule a meeting with a client, or even inserting funny GIFs into an email, add-ins help your consumers save valuable time, making them more productive with Outlook and your product. For developers who have built COM or VSDO add-ins, one of the benefits of the modern add-in platform is that Outlook add-ins are available across all clients, including Outlook Mac, OA, Outlook for Windows, and Outlook for iOS and Android. Another benefit of this platform is that even though add-ins are available on all Outlook clients, you only need to write one add-in. Another important value prop of add-ins is that they can be deployed to users easily and quickly. For example, Outlook users can acquire add-ins to the Office store, while businesses can deploy add-ins to their employees through central deployment in the admin portal. This recently released feature allows business admins to pick and choose which add-ins to deploy for specific individuals and specific groups, like sales teams. All right, let's see an example. One of the ways that a user can install an add-in is through the in-client store. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to install the Boomerang add-in. Now that I've installed the add-in, I am going to click the Get Started link in order to learn more about how I can use it. Here I can see that the Boomerang add-in is available when reading emails and while composing emails. In general, add-ins are available while reading and composing emails and while viewing and organizing calendar events. When developing add-ins, it is important to consider the user scenarios you plan to have because this will impact where your add-in will be available. Okay, now that I've installed Boomerang, I want to use my add-in while composing a message. In order to use my add-in, I find the icon here in the Outlook ribbon. As you can see, there are many actions that Boomerang provides to its users, but I want to choose Open Boomerang first. This option opens the add-in task pane on the right side of the screen where the HTML and JavaScript content of the add-in will load. This add-in specifically gives me options to send an email at a later time, schedule meetings, and track email responses. So if your add-in has many features that requires user input, a task pane may be the proper way to show them. If, on the other hand, you have a simple feature, you can choose to have a UIless action. An example of UIless action is the Send Later option here. With this option, I can quickly choose to send an email later without opening the Boomerang task pane, saving the user more time in the process. Another type of add-in is a contextual add-in. To show this, I'm going to switch over to OA. As you can see here, the add-in commands are located here while you're reading a message, compared to the ribbon in Outlook. Contextual add-ins, however, are surfaced based on specific text in the body of a message. Take this highlighted meeting suggestion in this email, for example. When I click the Boomerang add-in opens, and I can quickly schedule a meeting based on the suggested meeting time. Contextual add-ins in general are a great choice for developers if they are looking to surface their add-in based on specific text in the body of a message. All right, now let's talk about what makes up an add-in. An add-in is made of two components, a web app and a manifest. The web app consists of the HTML and JavaScript code that defines how your add-in behaves once it launches. The manifest is an XML document that defines where the add-in will be available throughout Outlook and how the add-in will appear, whether it be contextual, UIless, or presented with a task pane. Now that we have seen some examples of Outlook add-ins, let's look at how to write a manifest. For the purposes of this demo, we will be looking at the most recent schema version of a manifest, which is version overrides 1.1. Including this schema allows add-ins under this version to have access to the latest features when they become available. For this short demo, there are just a few elements in the manifest that I want to highlight. In order for your add-in to be available in Outlook for Windows, Outlook for Mac, and OA, you need to include a desktop form factor element. You also need to define the settings beneath it. These settings include the extension point element. which describes where your add-in will be available throughout Outlook. As you can see here, the add-in that I made is available while composing an email. That's because the type of extension point is Message Compose Command Surface. If you want your add-in to be available in other types of extension points, such as Message Read, Appointment Organizer, or Appointment Attendee, you also need to include the extension point and the settings beneath it for each one. For every button and for every menu item that your add-in has in the extension point, you also need to include a control element. For every control element, you need to include an action element. This determines whether or not when you click that add-in, if it's going to show a task pane or execute a UI list function. This source location element defines the source file or the HTML and JavaScript files that will be loaded in the task pane of your add-in. As you can see, this is not an actual URL, but instead this insert template pane URL corresponds to an element in the resources element down here. The resources element holds all the images, file URLs, and strings for your add-in. Scrolling back up, I just wanted to point out a UI list action. The action type for a UI list function is execute function. So that means that this will call a method without opening up a task pane. The function name element defines the method that is going to be called when your add-in button is clicked. This method should be located in the file specified in the function file element here. Another type of extension point that I want to talk about is the detected entities extension point. This extension point defines contextual add-ins. So you also must include the entity type that you want detected, such as a phone number or a meeting suggestion. You can also use regex to define other entity types as well. If you want your add-in to be available for mobile devices, you must include a mobile form factor element here. It is very similar to desktop form factor with a few slight differences that you can look up in our documentation. Now that we have seen at a high level how to build an add-in, I want to tell you what the extensibility team has been working on for the past year. To start, single sign-on is currently in preview for Outlook Desktop, with OA and Mac coming soon. This feature allows add-in users to sign into the add-in service using their Office identity, meaning that the user will not have to enter their password to sign in to the add-in. Considering that 82% of the time people forget their passwords, this could be a huge benefit for add-in usage. In addition, this feature also offers you more seamless access to Graph APIs. We are also very excited about the release of Central Deployment, a feature that allows admins to deploy add-ins to organizations easily and efficiently. And finally, we have just recently announced the addition of add-ins to Android. With this release, add-ins will now be available while reading emails on your Android devices. Looking forward, the extensibility platform has many different focus areas. To ensure we maintain the right once value of the platform, we will continue to work on feature parity across all clients. We are also focused on developing new APIs and extension points for developers to take advantage of when building their add-ins. Before we go, I just wanted to point out a few resources that developers can use to start building add-ins. Under Getting Started, I have provided a link to a tutorial that shows developers how to build an add-in from the ground up. We also recommend developers to follow Microsoft's UI Fabric Styling Guide to achieve a delightful add-in experience that feels truly native across all clients. This is especially important because developers need to design their add-in differently for different clients, like Android and iOS, because each of these clients have different styling norms. Well, that's about it. I hope you have enjoyed this video and are now excited with the idea of building Outlook add-ins. Happy coding!